especially when it comes to youth group sermon topics and themes, is talking about love, romance, relationships, sex, all of these things. And the common joke is, oh, you should just read Song of Solomon and tell that to a bunch of teenagers. um I am making this video today because I sat through an expository verse by verse look at Song of Solomon, not once, not twice, 3 times as a student. And then I actually took that same message from my youth pastor. And now I'm preaching that. I'm on my third rotation. I actually just finished the third rotation of going through this book. I want to tell you a little bit about my experience, why I feel like it's valid, why I feel like it's important, and what I've learned as I've navigated through it. So let's go ahead and open up the video, just talk through. I'm just going to give you my thoughts, again, as a pastor, sharing my experiences. And so if you are a pastor, future pastor, you're wanting to get into ministry, or maybe you're a volunteer, I hope that this video finds you, because this is really who it's for. I remember listening to Song of Solomon as a kid, like I said, a few different times. And I'm so thankful that I had a youth pastor that was able to navigate it not once, not twice, but a few different times throughout his ministry, because, teenagers are thinking and talking about relationships, romance, intimacy, sex, all of these things. And to think that they're not is a bit naive, even if parents haven't had, the birds and the bees conversation. And I love what my youth pastor really told me, which is, if the schools are talking, if people are talking about it at schools, right? If people are talking about it with their friends, then why isn't the church talking about it? Especially when we have a book of the Bible that is all about this thing. And so we go 7 weeks in a deep dive into Song of Solomon, and we really take a look at every aspect of good, healthy, godly relationships, from attraction to dating to courtship to communication to conflict. We talk about sex and romance and intimacy. We talk about what it's like to be committed to somebody. Man, it is such a valuable thing. Is it awkward? Absolutely. There's some of that text. There's some of the the pickup lines, or some of the descriptions. And I tell my students, man, go ahead, have a chuckle in this. It is kind of funny the way it's written. But overall, man, there's such value in understanding what God has to say about these things, what God is speaking through his word. Song of Solomon is just as inspired as any other book of the Bible. And we sometimes can make a joke of it or make light of it because the content is explicit, or it is descriptive, physically and all this stuff. But man, it is such a gift, I feel like, for pastors and leaders, for myself, man. Like I said, I've now gone through this 3 separate times. And what I do, the reason why I do that is I try to keep it strategic, in the sense that a middle schooler might hear it and might laugh at the content because, ha ha ha, we're talking about this and it's crazy and it's weird. But let me tell you, by the time they're in high school, they'd want to hear about this again. And so you get to familiarize them in middle school with the content, even if it's not landing. And then you reintroduce it when they're older, and it does become really relevant for them. Now, I do have students that hear it 3 times. Or even 4 times in their time at youth. And the reason why is because I feel like it's important. And it's important to always talk about these things. I was talking to a youth pastor friend of mine on a mission trip about a year ago, and he said there are a few things that should always be talked about in youth ministry on a regular basis: identity, purpose and meaning and calling, and romance, sex, and relationships. These are things that are just inundating our students, our teenagers, right? And I really think that it's important to be able to do this. Now, am I giving anatomy lessons and biology lessons, and this is how sex operates, and this is how no, absolutely not. But what we are doing is giving a biblical framework for their relationships, their marriages, and yes, their physical sex lives. Like it is important to be able to talk about those things, and to also not saturate it with what we saw in the 90s and early 2000s with purity culture, where there's shame and guilt in this. And if you've made this mistake, you can't ever, there's no redemption, or there's no getting it back. And like all of this garbage that we know now is really damaging. I think this is one of the healthiest things that you can give your students. And so, man, this has been my experience with it. I've loved preaching it. It gets weird, it gets awkward, but I think it's fun to be able to open up God's word in that way, to be able to take a look at it and see the value in it, man. If you've never read the Song of Songs, Song of Solomon, if you've never looked at it, I encourage you to go read it. I encourage you to go read it. I encourage you to break it down verse by verse to see what it's really talking about, because it is an amazing book that talks about relationships the way that God designed them to be. And so if you are a pastor, youth pastor, maybe you're even a senior pastor or an adults pastor, and you think this might be good for you, I want to give you this resource. I want to give you my notes. I want to give you my PowerPoints. Please let me know in the comments if this is something that you would like, if this is something that you would like to take a look at and to be able to maybe even use in your ministry or your personal context. Man, I would love to be able to offer this resource for you. So let me know in the comments. Just type SOS and I will make sure that you get a link for it. Man, it's awesome. To be able to unpack God's word, to be able to give students what they need, and to be able to not shy away from some of the more sensitive topics. And so let me know what you think. How do you feel about all of this stuff? What do you think about the perspective that I've brought here? And yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Can't wait to see you in the next video. Peace and God bless.